Diverse voices.
Unique sound.
Not the same old thing. Different.
This is NoCo FM.
Hi.
I got intro music this time.
Hello, everyone.
What's going on?
I like this beat.
This is a boogie get down.
Welcome to NoCo Live. I'm not on camera, but I'm saying welcome.
And you're jamming.
I'm jamming.
What? Chris, are you doing the splits? Whoa! Oh my God, you're amazing.
I know,
Holy
I'm so
shit,
good.
a triple backflip? Oh my God. Hi. Welcome to NoCo.live. NoCo Live. Oh my God, I don't know what show we're doing. My name is your very confused host, KevKat Martinez. He, him, they, them pronouns. Who are you?
Hey guys, I'm Stina. I'm the
it's
intern.
Charles. You're Charles.
Oh, I'm Charles today.
Yeah,
I feel like we need to give you
Charles,
a better term than intern
I feel
at
like
some
growing
point.
out my hair.
Yeah, you look amazing,
Yeah,
Charles.
thank you, yeah.
Charles, you look hot.
Charles, you look great. You been working out?
Yeah, just a
working
little
out?
bit, you know.
Ooh.
Lift and do it. Leg day. Never skip leg day.
Oh, yeah, of course, because
Yeah.
leg day has everything to do with changing the bones in your face. I love this.
Precisely, Yeah.
And over on the ones and twos, Chris Lanfear, as always.
Ones and
Hold it.
just the way that I like it. I don't know what that means. It fits with the music vibe.
KevKat, where's Charles tonight?
Charles is sick as a dog,
Oh, poor
which
guy.
is to say his dog is also sick.
Did he get it from his dog?
I think his dog got it from him, but he and the baby.
I learned it from you.
I learned it from you, Mom. Yeah, he's got the flu, so the boy's homesick, but he should be in the chat. So hopefully we'll see the boys' words, the sweet, sweet Charles boys' words. I brought my A game tonight, guys. I'm on it. What about you, Stina? How are you doing? What brought you to our humble little room?
Well, Charles is sick, so
Yes.
so here I am
Excellent.
filling in.
You have way better nails. They're super pretty.
Oh, good. Yeah, they're super chipped off because this was before Christmas.
I understand.
And I didn't quite get them finished because my cat decided to just jump right on my face when I
Oh.
was doing the last coat. So I'm like, I'm done. I
Hey,
guess.
fuck it. We rocking this look now.
Yep,
You
exactly.
gotta lean into it. My favorite thing to do is I like to imagine being able to have the fucking control to fill in all the cracks with another color.
Right?
Wouldn't that be dope? But no, I'm a failure.
It's like a superpower.
Seriously, I watch those videos for hours because I'm just like, how do you not shake constantly?
And
I-
have polish everywhere, here, but nowhere on the nail where you want it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
100%. Now,
Yeah.
I can do some insane, awesome body paint with nail polish, but I will not make my nails look good. My friend did this, and even I still managed to screw them up. So, it was my fault. How was your week, you guys?
Working, I started a new position, so I'm trying to kind of get into that. But it's fun, you know, just point at people and yell at them and get paid for it now. So I'm like, okay.
What?
It's always nice when you can get paid for yelling at people.
I mean, you might as well. Yeah.
What job title is this, and how do I apply?
I'm a lead pharmacy technician, so
Oh.
it's paying the dues of working retail too.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're what is it called? You're a capitalist drug dealer.
I'm a legal drug dealer. Yes.
That is
I sling
definitely
pills
one way
and
of
pay
working
my
at it.
bills.
100%.
Absolutely.
That's super dope.
Say you sling pills to pay your bills.
Absolutely.
That's fucking awesome.
Among other things.
She's like, yeah, but we can't because my job could see the shit. So
So,
the DEA.
like,
So
hit me up for
watching.
rates.
so we have a new viewer in the chat at Kyle Just Cuz, and he says, "I'm stream hopping." I assume it's a he because it's Kyle, but could be a woman. I'm stream hopping
Okay.
looking for practicing witches. Do we fit into that category?
I actually have been trying to get into it, but I'm not practicing yet. So I'm so sorry.
You're
dude, for
practicing
let you
to
down.
practice.
Yeah. I'm trying to find people to teach me. And actually, I have a couple of. Actually, I got invited to this really cool event. I can't remember. It's just a bunch of practicing Wiccans, and they're gonna be gathering together. And my friend invited me to go, and I'm like, hell yeah, I want to go. I was raised in the Wiccan religion. My dad is Wiccan. And it was super duper dope, going to Circle and O-Star and stuff like that. And I miss it. everything about it is just so like connected with everything you around you, and it's just pure love, and I love that shit. I'm here
Cool.
for it.
Right on.
Yeah.
So we don't have an energy drink corner tonight, because unfortunately Charles has a case of the death. But
Case of the Mondays.
but if you're following KevKat on TikTok, you may see some appearances from our dear deathly Charles.
Yeah, like him trying to tell his dog that he needs to wear pants.
How does someone follow you on TikTok? What's your TikTok name?
I was trying. It's Kevlar for cats, and the 4 is just the number 4, and
Nice.
the cats is spelled with a K. But yeah,
Nice.
Kevlar for cats, and yeah, I have a lot of followers on that, and I've never had that many followers on anything ever.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with this newfound power that you have?
your
I'm going
platform.
to continue to waste it on shitty little videos that I make when I'm at work. Like, I don't fucking know. I got lucky because, like, I got a hair up my ass last night. Like, I was like, I really, really miss, like, putting on exaggerated looks for no reason other than take pictures and just
Sure.
stare at myself in the mirror and be like, oh, this is dope, Just have a good time. So I hit my friend Lo up, and I was like, do you need a night off? And she's like, yeah, kind of. And I was like, great. I'm going to pick you up. I have an idea for a TikTok, and we're going to do our hair and makeup. We're going to be super extra, and it's going to be so fun. And we did it, and it blew up, and it was really fun. And so far, it's almost at like 100K views, and I've never had that many people look at anything I've ever made.
That's a lot
So
of
I'm like,
Ks.
it's too many Ks. I have a lot of Ks
pressure.
in my name.
Yeah, you're
I'm
over-
done. I'm
you're-
good at it.
You're like, I'm overloading with Ks.
It's a lot of Ks.
Please send help.
Special K. Oh man, I meant the cereal, but it sounds like I'm talking about drugs.
I mean,
Are you in
I
a
always.
K-hole?
Am I what?
Whoa.
Am I what? I need context. What does that mean? I feel like you're a small child that just walked up to me and just like, now you're gonna walk away with the secrets of the universe and I'm never gonna know. I don't understand.
You're like in a giant vortex of K's and you're just stuck in it.
Yes. The void is made of K. Every void begins with K. I hate this bit.
Hey, this means that we're starting the new year / new decade off right.
Okay.
Have you guys heard about the weird controversy about the fact that like some people are saying, oh, it's not a new decade because, year 0 wasn't a thing, so the decade doesn't start until 2021. Have you heard that
Bite
stupid
my
crap?
ass. I
I know.
don't give a shit,
Right?
dude. Come on. 10 years is 10 years. You can honestly fuck yourself. Like, that's so stupid.
Right. Plus, I mean, I think Corbin mentioned this on his show, but it's like, it was called the 2010s, and this is going to be called the 2020s. So that's when the fucking decade starts.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah, I thought they ended in 0,
Right?
but maybe I'm
Wow.
just old-fashioned.
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
Let's go back in time and ask the people in 1929 how they feel about the turn of the decade. If we want to wait till 1930 or 1931, and I bet you we get a different
That would be
answer.
good, although I would think that in 1929, they probably would have larger issues at play.
We should have larger issues at play than deciding and arguing over what year the decade's going to start.
They should, but that's the world we live in, sadly enough.
Hi, yes, I know that you're trying not to die right now, but I'm from the future, and I just want to ask you about your calendar for a second. No, I don't give a shit about your child. I want to know what year you think the decade should
About
be.
the child? You mean Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda, baby Yoda.
Breaking the internet. Oh my gosh.
God
Have you guys
damn.
been watching The Mandalorian?
I've watched some of it, but we can't talk about too much of it without a spoiler warning.
No, that's
because-
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
I've watched the first 3 episodes, and I watched 2 and 3 last night, and I have come to the conclusion that there will never be a human baby that is as cute as Baby Yoda.
I think so.
I'm struggling
Retort?
to disagree. I literally can't. I'm trying.
It's so difficult, right?
Honestly, I just don't like. I mean, I like babies, but I don't like them near me for long amounts of time. Like, if I can play like.
I
will
like you,
keep-
but get away from me.
I'm so good with children. The
Yeah.
thing is, like, I've been raising kids my whole life, so like I love being around kids. as long as I can leave. If I have an escape plan and I don't have to be stuck with them, I'm good. My baby sister once, when she was 2, my mom was like, you got to sleep with your baby sister so she won't get out of her bed. I was like, I bet. So I get in the bed with this child, and in the middle of the night, she has this huge-ass rock salt lamp.
Okay.
And I'm like peacefully sleeping, and then this lamp just full on bashes me in the front of the face, and I have to wake up like half awake, and this child is just staring at me like this. And I look at her.
Just dead-eyed.
I look at her, and I calmly pick up the lamp, and then I just grab her little ankle, and I rip it, and she just falls straight into the bed, and I was like, and just went back to sleep.
Holy shit. You're like, well, that's it for me.
She was safe.
Thanks for
like,
coming.
I didn't hurt the child. I just made her fall in the bed. I just want to say that real quick.
Right.
I don't abuse
Well,
children.
she bashed you in the face with a salt lamp. I'm pretty sure that's not how they work.
Right.
They heal
That's
differently.
not what that's for. You're supposed to lick it. It's so hard not to lick those. Have you ever gotten one? You're just like, it's made of salt.
What, babies? I don't lick babies. I'm sorry.
I don't want to lick babies. It sounds like a horror. Can we stop talking about
What are you
sounds
talking
risky.
about? How did we get to salt licks? What's happening?
salt lamps? That's what my sister dropped on my head.
Oh, the salt lamp. See, I missed that entirely.
Context here.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Yeah, context. I don't have it.
Truly amazing.
Context. Try to get some.
Well, this show is made context free, so don't worry. If you have
This
a
show is
context
brought to you by
allergy.
the letter C. C is for context. Try to get some, or you'll look like an idiot.
And that's context, not celiac.
What?
It's-
Oh, because gluten free. Oh my god, fuck. This is terrible. You're essentially a dad. What is happening?
I know, I have some terrible cheesy jokes.
My
This is
favorite thing is that
fantastic.
they seem to be like educated enough that you feel like the dad that's like, that's right, kids. Remember to eat your salad and like a persicum. And they're like, Dad, just call it a fucking tomato. Like, just call it.
Okay, so Charles, yeah, I'm sorry, but you've officially been replaced by Stina, who has a cornucopia of dad jokes available.
We about to have a dad joke off.
Just kidding. We love you, Charles.
What do you call a cow with no legs?
What do you call a cow with no legs?
Ground beef. What do you call a cow with 2 legs?
What do you call a cow with two?
Lean beef.
Oof.
Perfect. I was missing that audience there. Those were great. Those were dusted off from the vault.
What are Mario's overalls made out of?
Oh, what?
Denim, denim, denim.
Oh, yes.
I feel like you did that one on another show.
Yes,
That's a
but
nerdy
she
dad
hadn't
joke.
heard it yet, so
was
it's
perfect.
fine. How could you? You come into my house
it's
on the
easy,
day
I
of
just
my
push a
cat's
button.
wedding. Oh, I can't.
Your
believe
cat's
it.
wedding? Who is your cat marrying?
So, like, every time I got a response, every time I got a clap back good on my dad for like a whole year, he would just send me the same picture of this like Sphinx cat, you know, the naked ones,
Uh-huh.
wearing a wedding veil and a dress, and it would just say, "You come into my house on this, the day of my cat's wedding," and just never like he just sent that, and I'm like, why? So now it's one of my favorite responses.
Oh wait, we've got dad jokes in the chat. This is exactly what I was
yes.
hoping would
Perfect.
happen. Uglife87, welcome back. What kind of doctor is Dr. Pepper?
What kind of doctor?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm waiting for the answer because that's that's in the chat. So tell us, Uglife, because I'm not. I don't know.
Well, what do you call I can't tell that joke. I was gonna say, what do you call a man with no legs and no arms? His name, you asshole.
That's a good one. I like that.
It's real good. I like anti jokes. Those are real fun. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Dr. Pepper is a physician.
Oh, ha. Punny.
That is puntastic.
I know
Great
he's
job.
a diabetic, though, because he's full of sugar.
Aww.
That was the only thing I could come up with, so I was like really excited for that answer. Position. That's so cute.
So what do we have to talk about tonight, friends? KevKat, you mentioned that you had something great that you wouldn't tell me about before we went live.
So I got a scenario thing where I want you guys to think on your heads, and I want to like go in depth into something. So if you're not ready for that, someone else should go first, especially if they want to talk about their weeks.
You're like, if you want to talk about something stupid, do it on someone else's time. Okay.
I'm not here to play games. I'm here to find out what makes you tick. I'm here to wreck you.
Oh my God.
Mentally and anally. No, I'm kidding. I'm so sorry.
I'm afraid and turned on.
Exactly.
It's like,
This
that's
is
what
where
I
I
was
want
going for. Okay. Yeah. What do you got?
Well, honestly, I want to start it pretty simple. Okay, so it's a zombie apocalypse because the world feels like it's ending right now.
Kind of
me.
does.
Yeah, right? I'm so sorry.
Sadly
so
enough.
much dumb shit is going on. So instead of directly talking about it, we're going to plan how we're going to survive in case of a zombie apocalypse.
All right, worst case, yeah.
All right. So now you have a week. You've heard about the first case. How do you start preparing for the zombie apocalypse to hit? Do you, like, I don't know, do you try and pretend it's not happening? How are you going to prepare? Chris, you have the floor.
Oh shit.
The pressure.
Like, what's the first thing I do?
Yes, you've heard of a few cases in a state that is not yours. It's like, let's say California.
Right. So I've got a little bit of lead time, is what you're saying. Probably the first thing I would do is go to the grocery store and buy as many perishable or non-perishable. I never remember which is which.
Right.
Whichever ones I don't have to refrigerate.
Not
Buy as
perishable.
much of that stuff as possible and stockpile that shit. And then probably try to fortify exits, and board up windows and stuff. Make myself a nice little fortress, I
Now,
think.
do you think your house would be a good place and location for a fortress? Do you feel like you're secluded enough to be okay?
Ideally, no. I mean, this is a fairly populated area. I'm not at the top of a mountain or anything like,
Right.
where you have to like traipse like a Sherpa to get up to my house. So it's certainly not ideal, but I tend to stick with it because one, I'm a homebody anyway, and two, it's what I already have. I'm not going to have to try to fight someone for it because I'm sure there are going to be other people that immediately try to, find the highest ground, find the safest place. And I don't want to have to try to fight those people for it because that's just more conflict than I'm prepared for.
Right.
I'd rather just like hunker down and stay in a place where I have relative control over the environment.
Okay, and do you feel like enough of your neighbors know about you being here that it would be a problem?
A problem?
Like if your neighbors got turned or whatever, do you feel like enough people would know your location in order to turn on you and try and get your stuff or whatever?
I mean, I only know one of my neighbors, and you've met him. He's
Oh my
annoying
God!
as fuck.
Oh my God!
And if that dude becomes a zombie, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna bash your fucking head in.
Oh my God! Chris, you good?
Only if you become a zombie. Let's make that very clear.
Only if you're a zombie. So
It's life or
don't
death.
get me wrong, man.
It's
I
life
love
or death.
you.
It's me or you.
But if you were a zombie, I would feel nothing if I just I would do it with my bare hands. I would love to watch the blood, but only if you're
In
a
fact,
zombie.
I might peek out my window like every once in a while to check to see if he's turned yet.
Oh my God, I can't.
In
Just so-
preparation.
Yeah, just so I can be ready.
Now my question, so how would you prepare?
So I think the first thing I would do is I would check Facebook to make sure it was actually true.
Gotta double check. Like honestly,
Yeah, is it there? Is
if
it
that
out
fake
there?
Ellen page keeps giving out giveaways and sweepstakes doesn't post it, then it's
Yeah.
not fucking real.
Well, just make sure that it's not like Gwyneth Paltrow delivering the news.
yes, but go on.
No, I think I'd go with Chris. Go try and find some, non-perishable foods, maybe even some seeds. By the floral department and all the grocery stores, there's seeds. Grab that. We
Okay.
all watched Walking Dead. The farm was secure until they fucked it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair,
Somehow
fair,
the farm was more secure than the
Sustainable.
max prison,
Who
which
knows?
always made plenty of sense to
Barbed
me.
wire is
Oh,
never
yeah, no.
reliable.
That's true. It's not a deterrent for the undead. We've learned that.
Or just like people who don't give a fuck, because I've seen circus like go on wild to fucking bonfire. Anyway, so I love how you both are like, yes, food, but what about weapons?
I mean, if I've got lead time and my part of the country is still relatively like non-insane,
Okay.
then yeah, I would probably, head my happy ass to the gun store and
I'm going to Shields and taking that katana they got upstairs. I don't know if you guys have been to Shields
I
yet.
have not.
But they got a katana in a display case. I'd do
love how
that.
you're
You're
gonna
like,
go
you know
full
what?
on Michonne.
Zombies are coming at me, dog.
It's
And you know what?
reusable. You don't have to worry about ammo.
That's true. I like
The
that.
question, like, okay, so we have to decide what kind of zombies we're going up against in order for our weapons
Oh,
to
yeah.
make sense. Because
Good
if you're
point.
going against, like, Walking Dead zombies, they got some muscle on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can actually attack you, but you can also do, like, is it Night of the Living Dead? I don't know.
Those World War Z zombies where they were like so quick and they could crawl up anything.
Oh, my God, the World War
Those,
Z zombies
those
give
ones
me
were
fucking
creepy.
nightmares.
Yeah, I was like, I'd give up.
No. So, like, if we're going for...
It's too much. I can't run that fast.
You're like, and I'm spent.
In this
Peace
world,
out.
you're like, you know what? Being a zombie's not so bad.
Everyone's doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I got this new drug called Dead. It sounds super fun. I think, like, I want a machine gun.
That sounds like the plot of RoboCop 2. Like, if you've ever watched RoboCop 2, there's this new drug on the market called Nuke.
What? And what does it do?
It basically turns you into a fucking crazy person.
Amazing.
And then RoboCop has to come kill your ass. Mr. Charles Kelly has arrived in the chat. Welcome,
Finally.
sir. And he says, I'm dead on the inside. We already knew that, dude.
Me too, dog.
We
Got to
fucking
that.
knew that. Sorry.
And you
Tell
said
us
it
something we
with so
don't
much
know.
aggression. You're just like, God, Charles, stop talking about how dead you are inside. We fucking know. Good supportive friendship.
So aggro.
I would want a machine gun, but the issue is ammo.
Yep.
Now, I have a military ID. We can get on base, and if we get on base in time, but the only problem is, like, if the military turns zombies, and we are genuinely fucked.
Well, here's the thing, though. There's that issue, but also, by the time we hear about it in the news, the military's already going to be planning their response. So the
Right.
bases are going to be locked down whether you have an ID or not.
Oofa-doofa.
So my guess is that would probably not be an option.
But I would
unless
have
you
a-
had someone on the inside.
I do. I have
Okay.
a lot of people on the inside.
What's their name and phone number?
And here's a call sheet we're starting.
Yeah. Actually, like, I think I grew
Put
up
me
with...
down for one machine gun, please.
Yes, please. Oh my God. Oh, you pulled like a repressed memory out just now. 'Cause, like,
Oh, really?
My mom had like special security clearance, and like I used to walk with her down this hallway where she had to like, I don't know, do this crazy thing, and then she got handed the biggest gun I've ever seen in my entire life. And I completely forgot about that until now, but now I can like clearly see it. So we just need to find that room, and then we're
Perfect.
good.
Charles wants to know, has anyone mentioned wearing a suit of armor? And no, we haven't.
I mean, I would go for Kevlar. And that's not just
That's
because it's also my nickname.
Just kind of a given, I suppose.
I immediately went to like old chainmail, and I'm like, that's gonna slow you down, Charles. I need to run.
Yeah, you really need that like carbon fiber kind of like.
Well, you don't want the
stuff.
noise giving you away. You're like clang, 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 clang. Like I'm trying to get away. I swear, clang, clang, clang.
I feel like my friend Chris
You don't want
would
your
do that.
jingles to get caught on something. That's just gonna fuck up your whole flow and everything, the whole rhythm.
No.
That's not good for anyone.
The thing I love about what you just said is that 90% of the like post-apocalyptic things that I draw, I always draw the characters with like chains on them and things. I just thought about that. Everyone would know where the fuck you are. You are fucked. Oh man.
And Charles says, yeah, but those fuckers can't chomp through iron. Yeah, but that doesn't matter if you can't move.
Well, if there's
Exactly.
50 of them and they're on top of you,
Also, what
they're
if they...
gonna find a way in.
Here's the thing, though. What if they have magnets?
Ooh, then you goofed.
Like a
dog.
super powerful magnet.
Oh my
Then you're
God.
a super zombie, like
just
assemble.
Exactly. Like Breaking Bad. They just like let's say the horde in your area starts in like a junkyard. You're fucked.
Oh, you are so screwed. So screwed. I just thought of like a zombie with a metal head plate just stuck to the fucking magnet while they're carrying it.
Although if it was like the original Iron Man that he made in the cave, for like in the first Iron Man movie, then I would love to see that take on some zombies. That'd be entertaining.
That'd be
Oh, that
fun.
would be sick as shit, dog. Ooh, I just want to see his fist just like obliterate one of their heads, just like pop it like a grape.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. I'm gonna draw some shit when I get home tonight. Anyway,
Charles, Chris in a movie pitch room. Why not zombies, but with magnets?
hear me out.
I watched Breaking Bad too many times. I'm just like, yeah, bitch, magnets.
You just see Charles like, hang on. Okay, listen.
That's an interesting variable. It could change a lot of scenarios.
It could, yeah.
Very much.
Magnets.
Now I'm just thinking about that movie.
How do they work?
First you get
Yo, what's
some
up
metal.
with magnets, dog? What's their deal?
Okay, so let's say that we've stocked up on supplies,
Yes.
you know, or whatever. Like you've got your military hookup, you've got like missiles in your house and shit, and we've got lots of food.
Non-perishables.
Yeah, non-perishables and or whatever. Flammable and inflammable mean the same thing? What a country.
What a country.
But like, okay, so what's next? Do we sit and wait in our little fortified bunkers
So
and just like try to be like react to it, or do we become proactive and try to like I mean, what's the next step?
I feel like there's strength in community, so finding as much like people who are not infected as possible and making sure that they don't get infected and creating like a community where we can like work off of stuff would be probably the best option because people can't survive without other people. But there is of course that whole problem with like people turning in on each other. They turn inside out and it creeps everybody out.
I hate it when that happens.
Right? Turning on each other for supplies or anything like that. People going stir crazy and really isolated. Oh, this is really fucking hard to think about. I don't know what the best option would be because isolation would make you surely go insane. But if you have too many people that you're trying to take care of, somebody's going to lose their mind. And
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like they ran into that in The Walking Dead. Like when they're in the prison, they're trying to figure out like, you know, what are the questions that you ask someone? How do you make sure that you bring people in and you grow a community without letting psychos in? And I don't think that's possible. Because one of the things I liked about Walking Dead, like not to get too philosophical on it, but like that whole circumstance where they're like, who do we let in, who do we not, because people might be crazy, is a micro version of like just like it's an analog for society in general, right?
Yeah.
Because people always say that like Jeffrey Dahmer was a nice person, Ted Bundy was a very like gregarious, person that was like very popular with people, never really seemed like they were nuts. So it's like, how are you ever gonna know? Like that's the problem with like trying to build a community of any size, right? Is like you don't really know who someone is until you've seen them in that like horrible circumstance, and then by then it may be too late.
That's why we need an initiation.
Yeah.
We need some type of ridiculous task that only their loyalty would get them through.
all right, so I need you to do a triple
Ooh.
backflip right the fuck now. But while you're doing that triple backflip, I want you to say the alphabet backwards, and then I want you to tell me that you love me.
Well, I'm dead. I can't do a triple. I can't even do a single backflip.
Yeah, you'll have to move on. Check with your neighbor next door.
Oh, yay!
Fuck.
If I had to live with him, I'd rather be dead. Sorry.
That could be that new sitcom like The Odd Couple, but zombie version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
So
Not
like,
much for dialogue.
so here's the thing: if him and I were the last two people on Earth,
You would shoot yourself.
save the last bullet for me. Save the last bullet for me.
I'm so sorry for your loss. Oh man. And the thing is, like, having actually talked to this gentleman, I wish him the best in life. As far away from me as possible.
Exactly.
I appreciate his existence, and I think that he has a great, very positive outlook. But I also think that he's a little creepy, and he makes me very uncomfortable.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think he means to be.
I know.
He's just an old man who has lots of time on his hands, and is probably a little lonely. Even though I think his wife, is still alive. I don't know. I've seen her like once maybe, but that was years ago. And I'm sure he means well, but like for whatever reason, with whatever age he's at, he just has lost the ability to tune social cues.
Oh.
What's happening here?
Stina,
Yeah.
how was your day today?
My day was great.
Yeah, was it really good?
It was
Man,
okay.
it's a really nice day today.
Yeah.
Like, the weather's really nice.
You're
If you wear that much makeup, I don't know if men are gonna want you. Hey, you're
the
a
only
really
man
pretty,
I want
You're a
here
really pretty girl.
is heat dispenser.
You're a really pretty. You're a really pretty girl. If only you'd stop dressing so boyish. Like, hey, listen, and like
It gets more
in
air.
my face every time I see him, and it makes me so uncomfortable. He was like, "Man, you'd be a really pretty girl if you didn't like put your hair like that." And I was like, "But I like my hair like this." And he goes, "Oh, well, hey, that's pretty cool."
I'm
and
not
I'm like,
trying to impress you, dude.
I don't show me where I asked, sir. Where on this board
You have
did
the
I ask?
transcripts.
I'm gonna need the notes read back to me real quick. I gotta know.
If someone can check the transcript, I'm a
Exactly.
little lost on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what person, back to our zombie scenario, in this world, if something got destroyed or a person got destroyed or anything in this world would make you give up trying to survive?
My cat.
At least even for a second.
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Like
That's
loot.
what an edge.
What's your point of no return? Is essentially what you're asking.
Like everyone in your neighborhood has been turned. Everything's saying you have one thing that if you have this, at least you're fine. And that thing goes, what would it be? What would be the last straw?
Funyuns. I love Funyuns so much.
I get
You're
it.
Like, if everything sucks and I can't do what I want to do, at least I can have this bag of Funyuns.
If someone eats the last of the Funyuns, you're just gonna put a bullet in your head. Is that what you're saying?
I'm checking out, guys. I did my time. It was a good run.
Holy fuck, that's amazing.
That reminds me of Woody Harrelson in Zombieland looking for the Twinkies.
Yes, I was just thinking of that.
Exactly.
But you guys ever seen Last Man on Earth?
Yes.
Last Man on Earth.
I'd probably do something like that. I'd just go find some nice swanky house and build it up and find a
Bill Murray's house. Yeah.
find a toilet pool and a margarita pool and I'm set.
Yeah.
All right, and you like, you would be totally fine if everyone on the planet was dead except for you.
You know, I might just have to start drawing people on the walls in the garage.
Oh,
Just
so
to
you would
feel a
lose your
little
fucking
normal.
mind.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, oh yeah.
Would you have like a little volleyball?
But I got my
or
margarita
soccer-
pool. It's okay.
Right.
Would you have a
of
little
course.
soccer ball named Wilson that you'd communicate with?
Maybe I might name him Pete.
Pete?
My
I
car's
just
like
name
it.
is Zeke,
Little
and I
spin.
like Zeke a lot.
Zeke.
Zeke's a cool name.
But to answer your question, I honestly, before he died, I would have said my cat. Because I'm just like, hey, if I have this little ball of fur, I
Everything's
don't
okay.
necessarily need anything else. Now, granted, there are people I would miss, absolutely. But
you could teach him to be a burglar. I mean, think of the
cat burglar? Fuck
possibilities
yeah. Hell yeah.
of getting swag.
I'd be like, hey, go see if that guy's dead. And let
he
me know
does
if
a
he's
little
got
ball
any.
thing.
Let me know if he's got any cool shit.
Yeah, here's the GoPro. I'm gonna hook you up. You've been through one of these.
Yeah, we need a cat mount for a GoPro.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Where is that attachment, GoPro? You make everything else. Shit. Give me a cat attachment.
It's
Well, you know
TBD.
Cat mount. Yeah,
Those
TBD.
cats, they're too aloof.
Yeah, it's hard to do the focus testing.
I love that so much. The idea of a cat wearing a little GoPro, because the first thing they would do is beat the shit out of the GoPro, and the rest of the video is upside down, and you're just watching. That's so good. Oh my god. Okay, what about a food item? Because she said Funyuns, and I feel like I don't know if there's a food that would make me kill myself if it didn't, or at least not stop trying for a little bit.
Mashed potatoes.
You right? You fucking right? Oh my god, if I couldn't find any potatoes, fuck it. I'm gonna sit in the lawn smoking a cigarette and playing fucking Toxic by Britney Spears full blast. And I'm just gonna
You're
chill.
taking your moment.
Is
I'm
that
gonna enjoy my break. I don't smoke cigarettes.
is that
I
your
would smoke a
come
cigarette for that.
hither song for the zombies? Like, I'm ready. It's toxic. Let's do this.
Oh, and wait for it, because then I'd stop, right before it gets to the last part, I would stop my cigarette, and then I'd have a whole, choreographed routine, and that's how I'd go. That's how I would end myself in the zombie apocalypse.
I gotta say, that's bloody brilliant. That's
Isn't
awesome.
it amazing?
You're like, I am going out in a world of dance.
With the taste of your lips, I'm so ready for this.
He died as he lived.
Fucking jamming. But I think what would I one person or thing that I would lose that would make me stop trying for a minute. I was trying to think because there's a lot of things.
What
I
if you
hold
lost
dear.
Circus?
Oh, yeah. No, I was trying not to think about that, but yeah, you're right. Absolutely, that would fuck me up.
Because Circus is kind of like your cat.
Circus has been my best friend for 7 years, almost 8 now.
Yeah.
And like we've been dating for almost 1 year, like a year. A
I feel
little
like it's
over a year.
been longer than
It's
that,
been
right?
over a year because he came up for my 21st birthday and I'm 22 now.
I remember that because that
Yeah.
was when you brought him to our NoCo family dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so fun.
That was a lot of fun.
But yeah, we've been dating for almost a year now. I mean, more than a year now. And no, him or Abaddon, my other best friend of 7 years, that would probably do me.
I could see that.
Ugh.
And I like Abaddon a lot, but from my interaction with him and Circus are so closely related that, like, in theory, you could lose one of them and not technically lose anything. And, you know what I mean? Like,
No, they're
that
so
sounds
different.
colder than I mean it to.
They're so different.
okay,
They're so great, though. They're so
I agree,
close.
but like seeing them together,
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
them interact together,
They're best
it's
friends
like,
for life.
It's
They've been
like they're
best
two
friends longer
halves
than
of
I've
the
been best friends
it's like
with
they're two halves of the same whole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've been friends since childhood. Those motherfuckers are gonna die together. There's no doubt in my mind. I love you both so much. In case you're actually watching, you fuckers.
Okay, here's a question.
Yes.
In the zombie apocalypse,
Yes.
it's Circus and Abaddon. Who dies first?
Ooh, that's really hard.
Ah.
Oh my god, that's really hard, so let me explain. So, based off of behavior, Circus is more reckless, but when it comes to like being serious and trying to protect the people he cares about, that motherfucker can go from 0 to 100 real quick. Abaddon is one of the smartest people I have ever met. So I feel like when it comes to strategies and staying alive and staying supplied and shit like that, he fucking showed up to Fort Collins for the first time in his life and he said, "Did you know the population is blah, 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 blah?" And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He was like, "You have this many buildings." And I was like, "How do you know this?"
Well,
So
Wikipedia, but yeah,
who looks that up?
he does
How
apparently.
is that relevant?
He was coming for 3 days and he was like, "Oh,
I
I
would be
guess I better
curious
be
too.
educated
I'm like,
about this."
why is it important that you knew
And
that?
what's the population? Too much traffic sucks.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, since he already knows that, he knows where most of the population is. So he would know the good places to go to avoid that much shit and shit like that. And he
So
would
what
know,
you're saying is there is a significant reason for having census data. You can look at neighborhoods and be like,
Exactly.
okay, I'm staying out of there.
Circus is, Abaddon is essentially a walking encyclopedia, and Circus is essentially all the manpower we need, because he is not afraid to take risks that will probably save our lives, but I think that might kill him faster.
Sure.
So it might be Circus, which I really don't want to happen, but I don't want either to die. I hate this question. Moving on.
Fair enough.
I love my friends so fucking much. I would die first before I let either of those motherfuckers die. No.
Okay, so my topic for tonight,
Yes.
switching gears entirely. And
Bye,
this
zombies.
is no more zombies. I mean, unless they show up and eat us, in which case it's fine. But fuck you, zombies. But I want to broach the question of identity, and not like my personal identity or of anyone in this room, but more of like the identity of the station and like what we're building here.
Okay.
Because we've had Charles and I and Corbin a little bit have been having some conversations like in our Facebook group and stuff about kind of like what is NoCo FM and what does that mean, and is the name NoCo FM the best version of, like, does it represent who we are and what we do? Like, is it a suitable name? And like, I know you've seen some of the conversations that
little
we've
bit.
had in the Facebook group. And so that's kind of the wider question, like for you guys and for the chat as well, is like, I'm giving serious thought to rebranding the station with a completely different name. And the prime reason for this comes from NoCo FM obviously stands for Northern Colorado, and the majority of what we do has nothing to do with Colorado specifically, with the exception of like Coloradio. And I mean, that's perfectly fine. Sometimes a name is just a name. Like, I don't know if Nike means anything specific, but maybe it doesn't. There are plenty of brands that don't mean anything.
Right.
But because we're called NoCo, I've had conversations with people who are like, oh, you just do Colorado stuff, so I wouldn't necessarily be a good fit for it. And so even if we don't project it, if we never say the word Colorado, people think of that because of the C mark in the name and the use of the mountain imagery. So my overall question for people is NoCo FM a good name for us? If not, is there something we can say or call ourselves, or is there something that speaks more to who we are than the name NoCo FM?
I was trying to think of like lots of color being put together and like lots of diversity, and I thought of quilt, like something quilt, but I don't know.
Like a patch quilt?
Yeah, like Ooh, I like patch. Like Patches FM. I like that. That's fun.
Well, and
that's really not
and here's
branded.
the other consideration too. So we have FM in the name, and that throws people off because we don't broadcast on the FM dial. But by having the FM in our name, some people think that we do.
Oh.
And so it leads. I've been told Nike is the goddess of victory. FYI.
Oh,
so
dope.
It means something.
super. Just do it.
Thanks, chat.
But having the FM means that we usually have to follow up and explain, no, we're not on the FM dial, we're just streaming. And also now that we're doing more with video, like this show and Corbin versus the Movies, which is coming out soon, like having the FM as part of it also isn't necessarily like the best thing, because it kind of, one, it projects the wrong image, and even when it's kind of the right thing, it's still not quite the right thing. So like all options are on the table in terms of like, you know, what we would be. And I'm not asking anyone to come up with names right now, but like just to kind of put the thoughts in your head. And also chat room, if you have ideas for names, tell us. You know, I'd be interested in seeing it. But yeah, I mean, identity is a hard thing. Like
Yes.
when I chose NoCo FM, this was before Charles was as deeply involved, so I just kind of chose it on my own. And I chose it because I wanted to represent Colorado. I thought it would do that well, and it does, but perhaps a little too well.
Right.
And also because it was short, and it was short for something, but also kind of sounded kind of cool on its own. But I didn't really put a lot of thought into making sure that the name was reflective of who we are. So that's just kind of what it is. And especially now, like when I came up with the name and logo and everything, that was just me like saying, I've got to come up with something.
Right.
I'm on a deadline.
Basically.
I kind of love it because it feels a little bit like a golfing logo, like something you would see like on golf clubs.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, you know, go to the pro shop and there's like that logo there. But yeah, like it's just a logo. I mean, in all honesty, that mountain is stock clip art that I recolored, and then I put it in a circle, and then I did the NoCo, and then I had the idea that no one has ever used before to add the Colorado symbol into it. That's
yeah.
a lie.
Oh my gosh, that
Every-
is so original. That
I
was
know,
you.
it's so great,
What's
right?
it like using your big brain power doing something so amazing and undone before?
I mean, it took me like a week to recover
I
from
know, I feel that.
all the the brain power that it required. But.
Right.
So anyway, like that's just kind of my thought, is like I'm in this kind of like weird headspace where I'm trying to figure out our identity. And for the last like 2 weeks, every word I've seen or heard or, you know, seen on Facebook, I'm just like, what about that? 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 And part of the issue is too, other cool names that you might think of that are more common are taken already, or they represent something like, you know, very specific. And so it's just kind of a hard thing. And then that's kind of what I've been struggling with lately as we try to figure out like how to grow this network and how to bring in more people. And like, we have 2 shows now that aren't even produced here. So, you know, the NoCo name really doesn't make sense for them.
Right.
You know, so that's just kind of where I'm at. But thoughts?
I mean, NoCo is where we were born. I mean, when you think about it.
True.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's relative to that origin, but I mean, it seems like we're kind of breaking the walls of regular like internet entertainment and the culture and how it's presented there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, if we rebrand, I think it should have something to do with the culture that we represent, not necessarily just, you know, Colorado, but
Right. And that's the hard thing, because I'm just like, oh, I don't know, Laptop FM, or, you know,
YOLO FM.
YOLO FM, Trainwreck FM, you know, which would be fitting more often than not. But
Oof. I feel that.
but anyway, so that's kind of my thing. Stina, what do you have to? What topic are you bringing to the table?
I had the most uneventful week, so I'm just like, with everything that's going on right now in, you know, our world and politics, it's just like, how do you find a topic that's not totally
Garbage.
loaded? Yeah.
It makes you want to punch yourself in the face.
Yeah.
Right?
I
Like,
feel
Yeah.
like how we might be on the verge of like World War III. You know, it's like
I was like trolling on my news app. I'm like, I'm trying to find something that's like not going to depress everybody.
I know, because like I'm usually the one who brings up politics on this show, and everyone's just like, shut up.
I mean,
But I can't help it because it's so enraging and it's so it's worthy. It's the sort of thing that is absolutely worthy of conversation, but it's the one thing people will run for the hills in the other direction trying not to talk about.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the hard thing.
well,
Whereas,
see, the thing is, if the draft does come up, and at least I don't have to be worried about it because I'm queer and trans. So I'm going to camp, bitches. I'll see you later. That's a bad joke, and I'm so sorry if I
We
offended
got
anybody.
Spencer over here. He's I'll go with him.
You're just gonna hang out with the
Yep.
the heater.
I don't think
the
Spencer's
spaces.
going to get drafted, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
probably a
He
safe
gives
bet.
he takes care of that draft.
But do you think you're gonna get
that
drafted?
comes- Nah. I
No?
mean, I don't know. I guess it's hard to say because I mean, the last time we had a draft, it was just males for
Right.
Vietnam, right?
Right, but
I believe so, yeah.
now,
I mean, that was what 40-ish years ago.
right.
Yeah,
I
late
mean,
60s.
it's interesting, I think, to see to have these topics on board with the population that we have and the way that American culture has kind of come since then. It's really hard to say.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that's something that could ever really be fully initiated the way that it was then.
Yeah, I feel like the draft will 100% include women. Now, the thing I'm like, well, just because there's so many female soldiers already, and there's so many, like, well, not female, but women soldiers and feminine identifying soldiers already in the military. I mean, the trans ban was lifted, right, in the military?
You know what? I'm not entirely sure. I know
Somebody told me it was
there was a
today.
lot of conversation around it, but military trans ban
Google to the rescue.
to the Google.
Bam, 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 bam.
You need to catch that clip, and that's the Google clip every time.
What Google clip?
The ban
little sound bit.
still
Oh, yeah.
exists. Current U.S. Department of Defense regulations bar transgender persons from military service.
I'm safe. See you guys
Yeah,
later.
there you go. Yeah, collect some Funyuns for us.
Yo,
Yeah.
Why we're gone,
The
please.
Funyun Wrangler.
But
We don't know
Funyun
what we're
mer-
going to be coming back to.
I'm a Funyun mercenary.
But if Mike Pence takes office, then I'm a God-fearing, hard-working, Columbine driver. I'm a purple flower, and I think men are the only thing that I'm attracted to, and I'm a cis woman.
Punk X Ange says I'm queer and trans too, so I'm safe. So I guess the idea is like, I mean, at that point, I'm probably going to start identifying as trans, if for no
Do
other
not-
reason than to dodge the draft.
So since we're on the topic, I just
It
like,
worked
I'm
in
gonna
MASH, right? No, it didn't
throw
work in
this
MASH.
a little bit from
Yeah.
left field, but like, okay, so draft, like, did they, you know, overall with the consequences, did they not see like forcing some of those people, whether they were male or female, into service, into a type of environment they've never seen or aren't prepared for? Like, there was a lot of mental health issues that they're still dealing with.
Well, not
yeah,
on.
no, that's 100%
you know,
the
overall,
truth, but
and-
that doesn't matter when they need soldiers.
Yeah, I mean, not.
Does it though? Because when it comes down to it, half your troops are losing their
fucked.
shit.
That's true,
You're
but
gonna
that's
lose a lot
also
of-
something that wasn't indicative necessarily just to the draft, because there are people who have served in Desert Storm, in Iraq 1, in Iraq 2, and Afghanistan, who have come back with all sorts of mental health issues, and the system in large part fails them.
Yes.
And those are people who volunteered to serve. So if you try to force people into that circumstance, it's going to cause much more of the same, and it's probably going to be a lot worse for them.
So, as someone who grew up with 3 out of 4 of my parents being in the military, 100%. Like, if somebody, Chris is 100% on the money, regardless of, like, who you are, unless you go into the Air Force and you stay at the desk, like, the whole time. If you go to battle, you are going to get fucked up. I have, like, my mom's friend, I'm not going to name names or anything, but he was in the military. He got medically discharged because his brain kind of broke, and he just became okay with killing people because it was the only way he could cope with it. And then, like, once he got out, he kept having episodes and stuff, and he loved being in the military. My mom loved being in the military, and so did my stepdad, but they all are fucked up from it, like all of them. And my dad didn't enjoy the military, but he will talk about the negative effects of it as well. It doesn't seem worth it to me. Like, I understand having the structure, and some people thrive in that environment, and that's totally fine. But like, when you put someone in real-time battle where they have to make that decision to, like, take someone's life unless they're 100% prepared for it, which I personally don't believe anybody should be.
I don't think anyone can be.
Yeah.
If you're in the sort of mental headspace where you're okay killing people you haven't met who pose no direct danger to you,
Right.
that's a sign of a larger mental health issue that you have long before you even get into the military. That's kind of terrifying.
Right.
Like, you know, it used to be, for as long as this kind of like American ideal has existed, probably since the 1950s, there's been the notion that military service is an honorable thing. And I, with all due respect to people who serve, I completely disagree. I think the desire to serve is an honorable thing. But what people are asked to do in the name of service to their country is a completely unnatural, horrible thing.
True.
And
it's not all shooting children or anything
It's
like that.
it's
but-
not. No, it's not. But the vast majority of armed conflicts that the United States has entered into, especially since Vietnam, basically since World War II, have been completely unwarranted against people who had no direct threat to the United States. And the only reason that we went over there was to serve some sort of political or economic agenda. And that's what I have a serious problem with.
Same.
You know, all due respect to people who serve, I am glad that they chose to serve. People who enjoy it and identify with that, more power to them. I have
Right.
no issue with those people, but I have an issue with the whole notion that you should want to serve in the military to protect the United States, because in large part what the military has done since World War II is not protecting the United States. At least it's not protecting its citizens. It may be protecting, you know, someone's economic policy, or it's usually protecting our money in some ways, or the
Right.
money of the elites, but it's not protecting me.
Right.
Because the people that they're shooting and killing and that are shooting at them and killing them are no threat to me or you or you. I'll try to get off my soapbox, but
No,
that's how I feel about it.
The thing is, like, I don't know if you've ever seen American Sniper. Ooh,
I have.
hot ticket. Guess what? Okay, fun story. Guess when I first saw that movie was in a military movie theater, and there was like a whole.
Oh, like on a
scene
base?
Yeah,
Okay.
I used to live on like bases all the time, basically my whole childhood. But
Mm-hmm.
do you know in a military base before a movie you have to stand up and like do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then there's like a whole compilation video that you have to watch through before you can sit down.
I did not know
there's
that,
like a
but I
bunch
can't
of-
say it surprises me.
Especially in Oklahoma, it is a treat.
Oh, sounds
So-
delightful.
Yeah, it was great, but so like in that one, it really displayed like somebody who got like how he was not proud of the fact that he had that title, but he was also kind of proud of the fact that he had the title. I am in no way defending this movie, by the way.
Yeah.
I know people like hate this movie for a lot of reasons, and I understand. I'm not a huge fan of it myself. Actually, I don't feel one way or the other about it. But, the fact that we think it's okay and glorified to put people in situations like that and be like, well, they made this decision to protect us and therefore they're heroes. I've been thinking a lot about accountability lately. Regardless of your reasoning for doing an action, you still did that action, and to that person, they will never be nothing more than a murderer. Like, I have watched my mom's army friends, like, have great lives. One time, I'm not going to name names, one time she was really close to this guy, and he was teaching her how to play bass, and they were really close, and he was set to get married and have a wonderful life, and he decided that was the night that he was going to eat his gun. And it was a fucking horrible thing, and it was abrupt to everybody because his life was on the up and up and up and up, but he had so many unaddressed mental issues and, like, mental health problems that had come from being in battle and stuff like that, and it breaks my heart. I don't think any human being should be put in a situation where they can ever have their mental health deteriorate like that and no one give a shit.
I agree. It's a horrible thing to ask of anyone. Much less like trying to glorify it and make people like, you know, I see kids that, you know, they're like, you know, when I grow up, I'm gonna go into the military because you know, my dad is and my granddad was and all this stuff. And like, it's such a complex thing because I completely respect where that comes from. I respect the will to serve. The problem is that what they end up serving for, it's they're sold a bill of goods and it's not what it is.
Right.
And you know,
if I was fighting in the Civil War,
yeah, fighting in a war is not honorable, no matter what side you're on, no matter what reason you're there. Mm-hmm. It just isn't.
I do believe that in the past, forces like use of force was, like, I guess, kind of important. I just can't think of a reasonable justification for it today. But I understand that there are other people who do not think like I do. So in order for us to be able to protect ourselves against people who don't think like I do, then we need to have some kind of force. Like, if I leave my door unlocked while there's a murderer in my neighborhood, that's on me. I didn't lock my door. I knew somebody dangerous was in the neighborhood, and I did nothing to protect myself, so I'm going to get fucked. Hopefully not literally. But, and I do believe in having a protection and training people to an extent to make sure that we can keep ourselves and, like, this place safe. But it should be voluntary. It should not be something that is, like, forced. All the information should be given up front, like what actually goes into the military, what the risks are, everything. You know, everyone should be talked about. And it should not be used as a way to get into, like, some people only join the military so that they can pay for college. Circus joined the military so that he could get health benefits for his best friend by marrying him.
I did not know that.
Because they could not afford it any other way.
And yeah, there are a lot of people who join, like, the, you know, the Army Reserve to get the GI Bill so they can go to school. And doesn't that tell you kind of like how fucked up things are just in a nutshell?
Right.
Because, like, I want to go to school, but I can't afford it because it's so absurdly expensive. So I'm literally willing to risk my life
doing something that I have no passion in.
Yeah.
And, like, just so that you can afford to do something that you should be able to do anyway.
Right.
Well, you rent your body out to as property, and I think that's where the biggest, like, I don't know. I think it's an admirable thing. The only thing is I'm looking at it from the perspective of an individual.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's like you can't walk in, get a brand new job, and be like, "This is gonna be the best thing ever. I just want to help people." And then when you get down to it, it's you're not doing exactly what you thought you were doing. You don't have the control that you thought you did.
And by the time you find out that it's not what you thought it was, it's way too late. And sometimes it's too late forever. Like, you know, some of those people don't come home.
In the face of everything that we're going through right now in our culture, like, and world politics in general, like, I think it's, especially with this new element of technology being added into, you know, the battlefield and stuff, like, no, warfare doesn't make sense to me personally. I just don't understand it.
Agreed.
But I understand that it's a thing that we have, and it's a thing that we have to deal with. And, you know, going forward with all of that and having all of these variables and elements at play, I think that it's quite admirable for someone to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, and I don't know if I'm going to 100% believe in it all the time, but I'm going to go there and be that.
Right.
And that's a lot of self-control and giving that up that I'm just like, oh my
Right.
God.
Yeah,
I
I
think
couldn't
I
do
do
it.
that.
I
just,
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
like, I totally.
it's like I have trust issues, man. Come on.
Yo, you can't do that.
I freak out when the
But-
toilet paper doesn't go the right way. This is just
Right.
not for me.
I
My
mean, who
thing
puts
is-
it? Who puts the toilet paper where it's under? What kind of monster does that?
So my question
It's got to
is,
go over. It's like, what?
So my question is,
We got to keep it light here.
I think it's very okay. You're right. You're right. So as someone, I will always 100% respect veterans. I 100% respect everyone who joins the military. You have my respect. You have my trust, and not my trust. Oh my God, definitely not my trust, but my respect.
You have my
And-
support.
Yeah, exactly. Like I will always show respect to veterans and stuff, and appreciate people's sacrifices that they made. But I will never ever appreciate the fact that they had to make those sacrifices. And I do not. I think do you think it's admirable or stupid going into something not knowing, like not getting all the information, trusting what someone told you on the very base level, and signing away literally years of your life so that you can like get basic needs?
I think it's admirable to believe in a system where that ideal would happen.
Right.
It's unfortunate that a lot of these people get duped, and that's the real issue there.
Yeah,
And
but
it-
you
and
have
it's- and
people
it's-
getting duped, but then you also have, you have people duping people. I mean, you have people duping the system as well. Like, you were saying people just going and joining the service and then doing one tour and then getting out just so they can use their GI Bill.
Well,
I mean, if that's
I
that's
don't
them
think that's
taking
duping
advantage of the system.
I don't think that's duping the system. And
I mean,
actually,
then-
if you want to use your GI Bill, you have to stay for a certain amount of years in
Yeah.
order to get it.
Yeah,
Um,
and last I saw, the average for people going in was at least 3 tours.
Yeah.
Wow.
So obviously with every single time you go back, you're increasing exponentially the chance that you're not going to come back. And if that's the average, and that's over a course of years, setting aside for a moment the mental toll that takes on a person. I mean,
Well, the identity
So-
change it takes on a person too. Who
Yeah.
knows when you come out
100%.
of that if you still want
So
to
when you go into
Exactly.
the military and the military was my whole life. I grew up in this environment. I grew up surrounded by people in the military. I grew up respecting it and all this stuff. Like that was ingrained in me. I shake hands the way I do because of the military. So when I see people come in and they try to keep their personalities, and a lot of it is you are not supposed to be an individual when
No.
you get into it. You are supposed to be another face in the crowd, another foot on the ground, and it just strips people away of their individualism. It boils them down to numbers and
capital.
it can exactly how
Yeah.
much they can make and stuff like that. And I think
they
that
become
it's
part of a
actually
transaction instead of their humanity is completely stripped away.
100%. And like some people manage to stay themselves through it, and some people thrive in that environment, and some people require that the God, what the fuck is it called? Control, schedule,
Structure.
structure. Thank you so much. I couldn't fucking remember that word, but they require
Today's
that
show is
structure.
brought to you by the letter S.
Fuck me.
I didn't remember it either, so glad Stina was here. Otherwise, it would have just been dead air.
Thank you so much. But they require the structure that the military provides, and they can be very helpful. It teaches you how to take care of yourself, feed yourself, clean your house.
Routine,
Yeah,
discipline.
it teaches you routine.
And some people
discipline.
need that.
And some people
There's
do
nothing
need
wrong with
that.
that by any means.
100%. And I completely agree with that. But the thing is, I am not one of those people.
So so I have a question for you then. Before we get too deep into this rabbit hole, because it's already 10 o'clock.
All right.
You grew up surrounded by your family in the military, living on military bases.
All my friends.
Yeah. So obviously you did not go into the military.
No.
Why?
Because I watched a lot. Like, I loved to people watch when I was younger, and I still like to. But, like, I would watch kids join ROTC, and, like, I just loved to draw and create and do pretty crazy things in my arms, and I liked to be free to do whatever I wanted. And I just watched my dad wake up early, my mom wake up, like, she used to wake up at 6, get us to she was, like, raising us by herself for a little bit. Same with my stepdad. I mean, my real dad. God damn it. But
That guy.
yeah, the bro dude, the dude bro, Robert.
The dude with the stuff.
But she would wake up at like 6 a.m., super braid her hair back, have a panic attack because one hair was out of place, and she knew that she would get her ass chewed if she didn't have it in place. And then she would try and get me and my fucking, both of us little Mexican children to the fucking daycare in time. And then she would have to come back. She was always late to pick us up, and she was always stressed out. And she, like... And then I watched my stepdad.
Well, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a culture of fear, right?
It is.
You command the respect, and you get people to do everything the way you want them to do it at the same time through fear.
And I don't thrive in environments like that. I don't like being controlled, and I don't
Most
like...
people don't.
Yeah, but like some people do. I did watch some people like fucking grow in that, and the thing is,
Sure. You have to have a certain personality type to really, I suppose, excel in that.
And I've watched
environment.
people also just completely fight it, like stay who they are the whole way through it, like adhere to certain. Actually, that's something that the military taught me that was very helpful. Was gritting your teeth and bearing it, and still being yourself outside of that situation in order to get through it, so you can get out of it. And I watched a lot of people do that. They will serve the allotted amount of time so that they can go to school and pay their bills and have a place to live and get on their feet and serve like wholeheartedly, put everything into it just so that they can leave with a good record and a great like way of doing it. And that is, to me, very, very smart. So I kept paying attention to that, and that's how I keep like doing shit.
And based on what you witnessed, how common would you say that particular scenario was?
So the idea of that scenario was very common. The execution of it was less common.
Sure.
Like people would end up staying in a lot longer than they meant to, or get kicked out pretty early for like behavior or mental issues. A couple of close friends of mine joined, and they mentally couldn't handle it, and they had to be medically discharged. So it kind of depends on how strong you are, I guess. Your ability to deal with bullshit and not crumble, I guess.
Your coping abilities.
Coping abilities.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Words are easy. Now, some funny shit. Let's end on a light note.
Welcome to Words with Stina, with your host, Stina.
She's helping out these two bumbling motherfuckers. I can't
I know,
remember shit. But one funny
What do you
thing-
do? I'm a podcaster.
I meant dissertation. No.
Shit. Oh, fuck.
Well, since we're ending on a funny note with words, so this past spring, I graduated with my associates from Front Range.
Right.
And my very last class thank you. My very last class was Anatomy 2. It was a 3-hour anatomy lecture,
Oh,
first
dear
thing in
God.
the morning at 7. And
Sounds awful.
my instructor, and she was lovely, but she was French.
Mm-hmm.
And she spoke English really well, but the way that they pronounce like their vowels and certain words. So she kept saying omens. And I was like, what? Are we dealing with like, I mean, it's close
I
to
do love that
Halloween,
show.
but what's going on? Are we dealing with spirits and ghouls? And then I was like, oh, she's saying hormones. Got it.
I
and
would
it was
not
just
have gotten the hormones
so
for
the
that. I was thinking she was
whole
talking
rest
about
of the
almonds.
semester, I was translating for everybody at my table. They're like, what'd she say? They're like, oh, she's talking about the kidneys and osmosis. We're good. And they're like, I'm glad you're paying attention.
Fuck.
It's
You're like,
interesting.
someone's got to hold this fucking thing together.
What a power
Come
move.
on, you guys.
You got to become her TA now. So you can
Yeah, right?
like,
Just flipping the word around. No, it's not omens. It's
over here.
hormones.
It's-
Yeah.
What she said.
I mean, and I loved the way that she taught the material, but yeah, it was that slight little like kind of cultural learning curve there at the beginning was, all of your lectures are going to have just a slight change, to the pronunciation of the vowels. And I think that culturally is just really interesting because you'll have some students that are like, what? And then others that are like, that they take a second and just continually like never give up and just keep processing.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, I get that. So
Me.
I became the translator all semester. So it was pretty, it was
Dope
funny.
as shit, dog.
I think you have a good podcast title now. The Translator.
Translating.
Oh my
Stina.
god, if only you were trans.
Translating.
Oh my God, that would be a great name
Translating
for
squared?
a trans-focused podcast.
Trans squared later.
Wow,
I
that's fantastic.
hate that.
So,
All right, thanks
hey,
for joining us.
hey, KevKat, You
Chris.
have a podcast.
I do have a podcast.
What's it called?
It's called NoCo Gadio. NoCo Gadio. What do we do on it? We play LGBTQIA plus artists and all kinds of fun shit. Guess what I'm doing? I draw. Did you know that? Because I did. Every week I'm going to pick a song from my playlist and I'm going to draw something to it. And guess what? You should fucking do it too. Why do you ask? Because I'm going to pick one of those drawings and make it the cover art for one of my later episodes. So you should absolutely participate. NoCo Gadio. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at KevKat or you can follow me on TikTok at Kevlar for Cats. Anyway, moving on.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So such natural, incredible delivery.
I felt really good about it.
You're
It
like
was like the first time you'd ever done that.
you're
That
like
was-
Meryl fucking Streep. I
I'm gonna shove
believed
this
it
in my
so
mouth.
much.
Actually, that's
Golden Globe
cerulean.
goes to.
It's not blue. It's actually cerulean.
Stina, what would you like to plug?
Oh, just go out there and be good people. I guess that's all I can really. I don't have a podcast yet, but
But
I'm
you're
learning.
working on
I'm
podcasts with us,
working.
which
I'm
is
hoping
amazing. We-
2020 is my year.
I think we
Start
need to come up
recording.
with a better title for you than intern.
The intern.
I think
I think
officially
you're now.
the outturn. No.
the now turn. The outturn. No, I think you are now a production assistant.
Oh, good. A
Ooh.
PA.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I
It's
love
a step
that.
up from intern.
That feels fancy.
It is. It
Your-
does sound fancier.
Your rate of pay remains the same.
Good. Oh, good. That was, I think, my number one question. Mo money, mo problems. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I'm feeling generous. We'll double your current salary.
Oh, what's 0 times 2?
Me fucking
0 squared.
That's right.
Chris,
Yes.
do you want to plug anything? Do you want to talk about anything?
Yeah, let's talk about stuff. You can listen to NoCo FM. We are primarily a streaming radio station and podcast network. You can listen to us live 24/7 at NoCo.FM, or you can get our free mobile app. Just search for NoCo FM in the App Store or the Android Store, and listen to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We play commercial-free music most of the day, and at night we have original shows like this one, and NoCo Gadio, and Talk and Roll, and all kinds of stuff. And there's finally going to be new Talk and Roll episodes coming soon. So
Fuck yeah!
I'm excited about that. What else? You can follow us, obviously, on social media at NoCo FM. And if you have a great idea for something else we should be called instead of NoCo FM, then tweet us or message us or DM us or slide into something with us and let us know what it is and tell us how we're driving. NoCo Live, we do this every Monday night at 9 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 p.m. Eastern, and it's available as a podcast the next morning as well, wherever wonderful podcasts are found. Thank you guys. Thank you
Oh,
for
thank you.
for doing
This
the
was
show
a
tonight.
fun sit down.
Yeah, I love this show.
It's
We're
so
sorry
fun.
you're sick, Charles, but we had fun.
Charles, we miss you. We hope you'll be back next week.
Rest in peace.
But the show will definitely, in some form, be back next week, unless, of course, we choose to cancel it, which we do sometimes. But we're trying to get better about that. And as of today, we have 100%. We have not missed a show this year. So I'm very happy about
Oh,
that.
really?
We're starting off on
Well,
a good
it's the
note.
first Monday of the year.
Oh, fuck yeah. My bad. We did it, dog. We did it.
So thank you. Good night. We love you. We'll see you next week on NoCo Live.
Bye.